Hi everyone, for this video I'm going to show you how to read the micrometer screw gauge. Now what I have here is a diagram of the different parts of the micrometer screw gauge. If you are still not familiar with the different parts of the micrometer screw gauge, I'll recommend that you stop this video and go and revise them first. If you are familiar, please proceed on. Now to read the micrometer screw gauge, there's two types. One is without zero error and the other one is zero error. Even without zero error, there are two types of readings. With zero error, now that does not mean that there's a problem with the micrometer screw gauge. It merely means that it has worn out after wear and tear, but there is still a way to get your final reading. We'll discuss more on that in another video. For now, let's talk about reading the micrometer screw gauge without the zero error. Now what you have here is the reading on the micrometer screw gauge. This is the sleeve, this is the thimble, and this horizontal line here, we're going to call it the datum line. And the readings are all in millimeters. So how do you read the sleeve reading? We have to determine whether the reading is 0.0 or 0.5. What do you mean by 0.0 or 0.5? So the mark below the datum line is actually 0.5 and above the datum line is 0.0. So we start with 20 and then below this is 20.5, above 21.0, below 21.5, above 22.0, and so on and so on. Until you see the last marking on the sleeve. The very last marking is actually 26.0, and hence the sleeve reading is 26 mm. How about the thimble? Now to read the thimble, we need to check that the datum line is in line with one of the thimble marking. When that happens, start counting. So on the thimble marking, this 15, 16, 17. Therefore, the line on the thimble is in line with the datum line, and hence the thimble reading is 0.17 mm. Note, it's 0.17 mm. So to determine the micrometer screw gauge reading, we add up both the sleeve reading and the thimble reading. So the sleeve reading we have is 26 mm, the thimble reading is 0.17 mm, and hence the micrometer screw gauge reading is 26.17 mm. So to basically summarize them, first step, determine the sleeve reading. Is it 0.0 or 0.5? And then determine the thimble reading, datum line in line with the thimble marking. Final step will be to add the readings from step 1 and step 2. So what happens if your sleeve reading now reads 0.5? The steps are still the same. So over here, your sleeve reading is 14.5 mm. You have 10, 10.5, 11.0, 11.5, 12.0, and so on and so on until you arrive at this reading is now 14.5. So the last visible scale on the sleeve is actually 14.5 mm. And your thimble reading, look for the datum line in line with the thimble line. This is 31. Therefore, your thimble reading is 0.31 mm. And then your micrometer screw gauge reading is 14.81. That's 14.5 plus 0.31. You get 14.81 mm.